Alright guys, got a chance to wear my new jacket, newly embroidered jacket today. It got a little chilly. I took it on and off a few times, but it really came in handy. Man, I love this jacket. It was only like 20 bucks at Dollar General, and then it probably cost more to embroider it. But I really like how it came out. Looks good. And it looks professional. So it doesn't cost a lot to look good. But look at that. I wore that thing probably 4 or 5 times today. I really needed it at night. Got cold, so that's the only time I really zipped it up. But got made a couple trips today. Did some estimates. Went to Zach's saw shop and was able to get some needed parts. I got my beloved pole saw back. Let me see if I grab a knife here so I can open this package up for a second. Hold on, I'll be right back. Just gotta grab my knife. A knife, the knife, the knife. What do I do with my knife? Well, I got a knife. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I usually have a knife right around the area here so I got some water on me. Anyway, so I ordered something I forgot about. So we're going to open the package today. I already went up to, oh, there's water on the knife. That's where the water was, wondering where that was coming from. They have a Pico blade that I use on my pole saws and my top handles, and I saw I need to get the price on what I paid for this off Amazon because I think these are a little bit cheaper than you can buy, and I'm trying to find an alternative to always buying through these saw shops. And if I can find an alternative, because all the prices are going up on all these blades, so I want to be able to buy a few extra ones and hopefully be able to save the company a little bit of money. So I don't know why there's so much water in this knife. The whole handle's full of water. Crazy. And they really taped the lickings out of this sucker. So see what we got here. Okay, we've got I ordered 2 of them. So, and then it looks like there's, maybe that's just one. Is it 1 bar? Maybe I just ordered 1. Yeah, I just ordered, okay. Look at all the water coming out of this knife. It's crazy. This is supposed to be the duplicate of the steel. It was 16-inch 325 by 62 drive lengths. So I got to take this into the shop tomorrow and see if this matches up with the Pico bar and chain. It looks like the same bar and chain, but you know, until you put them side by side, right up against each other, that's the only way you'll know. And then I'll do a price comparison of what I paid, because I just bought 1 or 2 of these at Zach's steel dealer. I don't know if they gave me a 10% off or not, but this looks like this might be the, I don't know, I think this is the one that comes on the steel. So this might be the little bit thicker bar and chain. I'll have to match them up, but I think this is a little thicker. But if you can get it for half price, you can't really beat it. So I'm going to throw this on the one of my top handles and see if it'll fit on one of my pole saws, and then we'll figure out if it's a good deal or not. So I'll be the guinea pig. So we're going to fold this back up. Another thing I wanted to talk about is Firewood. And I think there's a misconception. You guys are watching these guys on YouTube, and they're, buying all this equipment. They're acting like all this wood's easy to split. I think I gotta be careful what I say, but I think it's bullshit. I think there's a lot of guys out there that are retired. They don't really need the money, and it's more like a hobby to them. And I think it's misleading, because I've been doing tree work for over 20 years. I've been selling firewood for at least almost that or longer. And the thing you got to realize is, okay, if you have a firewood tree service, your tree service pays the bills and it buys all the equipment. So the only difference between me basically making firewood or not making firewood, I'm paid to get all these trees. I'm physically paid. So when I bring the material back to the shop, it doesn't cost me. I'm getting paid to get the firewood. And when I separate it and I haul away the trash, the money that I would normally take to haul to the trash or have a loader truck come, I take that money and we pay people to split the wood. And we have machines that are specifically designed and engineered to split wood. We can split wood probably faster than almost anybody. We can have one man that can basically split a cord an hour, and he's not even breaking a sweat. And he, stays at the shop, so a lot of our overhead's covered. And then the money that I would pay for the dump, I pay him to split the wood. And all the chainsaws and everything we use for the tree service. So everything that we have is basically paid for by the tree service. The only thing that's not paid for by the tree service is a couple of the splitters. And we've had most of our splitters are over 10 years old. And I've sold a lot of them and collected the money back for the used ones that we've went through. The skid steer is the main part of the firewood process, and it's paid for by the tree service. The big firewood splitter was given to me by a friend, and I paid my welder a couple $100 to change it, augment it, change it, ordered a few parts for it. So I literally have less than $1,000 in a splitter that you would buy probably for $4 or $5 grand. The kinetic energy splitter we paid like $3 grand for. It's 10 years old. We're still using it. We had it repaired about 4 or 5 times under warranty. So we're about to buy another log splitter, kinetic energy. But I've had firewood processors that I bought used. The guy paid $25,000 for Timberwolf Z2500. I don't know what it was called, but he paid $25,000 in or more. It had a 16-inch conveyor, and then it had a 25 horse Honda splitter with a piston this big. It had a 4-way and a 6-way. It had a blocking splitter head on it. I ended up paying like, I don't know, it was 10 grand, 8 grand, $7,500, something like that. And then I ended up selling it for 5 or 6 grand. So I lost about $1,500 on it, and it literally was not worth it. The conveyor was kind of nice, but if you're not making a humongous pile of wood, which we don't do anymore, it's a waste. So I sold that, got most of my money back, and we used it and we changed it around, we augmented it and tried to make it work. Didn't work. It always got stuck on the big logs, because what a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of guys that are showing you these firewood processors and these super fancy, extra special things that split like butter, they're not using they're not a tree service. They're not getting firewood and trees in that they cut down. They're actually purchasing this genetically engineered wood, like birch and like cherry and maple and trees that are super easy to split. They're not knotty. They're straight. They're just perfectly engineered to split on a firewood processor. That you cannot. I guarantee you, there was one guy that because we used to do all the bonos. We supplied all the firewood and all the smoker wood for all the bonos. Bonos actually thought that they were getting blackjack, turkey oak. That's what they were telling them, and they were getting everything but. So a lot of these companies think they're getting one thing. They're not even getting, they have no idea what they're getting. And we did it for about 6 or 8 months, and then ended up losing the contract because the one of the janitors or the maintenance guy, his nephew wanted to do it. So that's why I don't cater to any businesses. I don't we cleaned up all that. They had all their firewood stacked by the dumpster. So I hired a guy. We went in and cleaned up everything, put everything on plastic pallets, stacked it beautifully, and it was the best wood they ever had. They're super pleased. And then we would cut wood to their liking. And I guess I made a deal with the CEO, but I guess the maintenance director went over his head, and just they decided to go with a nephew that didn't own anything, it didn't have anything, but wanted to start a firewood business. And the thing is, I was only doing that firewood business. Everything that I made went back into the firewood business, and it was basically I was taking the money that I would haul to the dump, and I was paying somebody to cut up and deliver the firewood. So there wasn't hardly any money left over once everything was done. It was just for exposure, and I ended up getting a lot of tree work just from having the trucks drive around. I got some tree work from some of the restaurants that needed trees trimmed. So all in all, it was a good experience. It taught me a lot, but there was no money in it. And I talked to the owner and the manager, and I said, listen, I said, your nephew or cousin, whoever it is, if he doesn't own a tree service and doesn't have $250,000 of equipment that is used for the tree service that also transfers and goes into firewood making, and he doesn't already own all the equipment, he's going to be out of business, bankrupt, or someone's going to have to subsidize him like to the end of time, because he's going to have to buy firewood, he's going to have to go get it, he's going to have to basically hire all these people to do what we're doing in a fraction of the cost. And we already had trucks to deliver firewood and all that, but I'm so glad we got out of it, because basically we were supplying firewood, and what happened was we were in the restaurant and we're eating food, and they'd give us maybe a drink or something, and we'd buy a little meal. Customer come up and they're like, man, this is great firewood. Where do you guys get it? How do you do it? And one of the managers of the restaurant or the employee said, man, just go back in the back and grab whatever you want, man. It's free. Just grab the firewood. And then they called me and they're like, hey, we're out of firewood. You need to bring us more. And I'm like, no, I don't. I said, you get paid for per load. I said, I'm not giving firewood away to all of Jacksonville because you guys want to give your firewood away because it's so good. So anyway, needless to say, about 3 months after they had their nephew started delivering firewood, I said, this is what's going to happen. He's going to go out of business. He's going to go broke. And then you guys are going to call me and call our number, and we're not going to have anything to do with you guys, because we basically had everything set up perfect. I even bought a truck to deliver the firewood, a dump truck. We had everything set up perfectly. It would have been just wonderful. And they threw a wrench in it, and they screwed up. And just like I told them, in about 2 or 3 months, they were calling me. All the stores were calling me, hey, we need more firewood. These guys aren't producing firewood. We don't even know what we're getting. We're getting all this junk. We hate the firewood. We love you guys. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm sorry, but the CEO or the guy that running the show didn't even have a brain in his head. And then the guy before me that was delivering firewood, they actually bought him a firewood processor for $80,000. And he sold it, and they never seen him again. And when he went to meetings, he was very inappropriate. He was showing pictures and stuff. He shouldn't even have been like involved in the whole situation. It was just ridiculous. They hired and trusted some guy that didn't even have a business, and they gave him an $80,000+ firewood processor. It was a Repeato Loco, because the guy was coming to me wanting me to give my premium wood to him to run through his firewood processor. And I went out there, and you have to have perfect wood. It has to be set up. It has to be a perfect length, and it has to be a certain type to run through this processor. And he had it. He couldn't even run that thing because he didn't have the right setup. But anyway, they trust people that don't have anything together, and they're living on a shoestring, and they end up giving them all this money and it's huge checks, and then they end up eating it. And then they end up getting rid of people like me and hiring a relative that doesn't even know the business. But anyway, I was just thinking, I was watching these videos on YouTube, and you got these guys that are like 40s, 50s, retired, and they're buying brand new top-of-the-line tractors, top-of-the-line splitters, firewood processors, and then you can tell they're hiring and they're bringing in these trucks of firewood, and like this perfectly aged wood it's grown to split. And so it's very I think it's a lot of guys, if you're not in the firewood business and you're not in the tree service and you haven't split wood for 20 years, sometimes it looks like a golden egg, and oh my God, it's like it's easy, and all you do is buy a firewood processor, and when the wood comes in, it splits like butter, and it's like, it is so far from the truth. And please do your research before you jump into the firewood business. Understand that these guys that have these firewood processors, and it's splitting into 8 ways and 6 ways, and it's cutting perfect every time and dropping in, that wood is purchased. They purchase that wood on a big truck comes in, and it's all pre-engineered to be split easily. It's like birch, and like the wood you see at Home Depot, and when they split it in 4 ways and they have the fire on top and the bark's peeling off, that's birch. It's super soft wood. If I guarantee you get any firewood processor on the planet, and I throw all my oak and hard oak and knotted oak and hard pieces of wood, I guarantee they're going to have so much problem with those firewood processors. Those firewood processors are meant to process birch, soft wood that is engineered to split. I guarantee you put a piece of oak that's knotted up, it'll jam up any of those machines you got. So the only thing that I would get besides what I have, I'm going to get a brand new super split electric heavy duty, because the one I have is it's a knockoff. It's a DR Power Rapid Fire, which is a good machine, but the first one I ordered was better. The second one was worse than the first, and it's not engineered strong enough for commercial use. We've been babying it and repairing it and stuff like that, but eventually it's going to break down and wear out. I'm going to sell the 2 old ones I have and get maybe 1 or 2 of the Rapid Fire, the one that most heavy dutiest electric that I can find. But that's it. And then I wouldn't mind having a grapple saw, something that grabs it, cuts it, and drops it. Grabs it, cuts it. Because other than that, I don't think we'll need anything. The only way, it's about 10 grand for the grapple saw, and then the only maybe possibly I would maybe get a firewood processor that fits on a mini skid or a regular skid. And what would happen is just put the wood on there that's super soft, like cherry, maple, birch, whatever you think that's going to really soft and split perfect. Run it on that. And you can run oak on that, but I would take the cutter head off and just cut it into little pieces. Take the cutter head off, because eventually it's going to get stuck. But anyway, sorry for the ramble, but I just thought you guys would want to know. Somebody that's been in the firewood business, someone that's been in the tree service, don't be misled by these guys on YouTube, and they have $250,000 worth of equipment, and they just started, and they have a YouTube channel, and they're like, oh yeah, I just started a firewood business in my spare time, and now I've got brand new trucks, I've got brand new trailers, I've got brand new firewood processors, and I do everything myself, and we stack it in a pile behind our house, and they got this 50-acre farm, you know. Just be careful, because a lot of these guys, they they might make money on YouTube, they might make a little bit on firewood, but they're going in debt. Someone is either they either have a bunch of money, they're retired, and they're bored, and they have a bunch of money, they take out a bunch of loans, and they just want to like do something on the side. I guarantee you, think about it. I mean, it's common sense. If you buy all your chainsaws, right, you're going to end up spending at least $1,000 on saws. If you buy just a regular log splitter, now they're about $1,500 just for a basic hydraulic log splitter. Then you got your trucks, and then you got your trailers. And then you got all the time in cutting, stacking, loading, delivering, okay? And then if you step it up again, then they're getting forklifts, they're getting tractors with skid steers, or mini tracks, loaders. They're getting firewood processors. They're having to have a tractor to run the firewood processor, and then they have multiple. So you're talking like, some of this equipment's like $40,000-$50,000. Some of it's up to $100,000, and this is just a hobby. And it shows, them. Oh, I just started a year ago, and now we're doing $250,000. But they don't show you there's trucks coming in delivering that firewood. There's a lot of people, they just resell it, or the material comes in on big trucks. They have to buy the material. So, oh my God, I don't know how to say it, guys, but just be careful. Do your research. Watch these channels and try to. Now listen, I have a tree service. All my equipment's paid for. I get paid to collect the wood. I have very low overhead. Everything we do and we sell to people that come up, and sometimes they load themselves. Perfect situation. We're not making millions of dollars. We're making enough to subsidize the slow times and pay guys that are basically not working that day, or they want to work a half day, or whatever. We're not making a killing on firewood, and we have the most efficient, lowest overhead of almost anybody I can think of, and we have the best equipment, and it's the easiest. And it's just the only way that they can beat us is if someone subsidizes them and buys them a firewood processor, and then someone delivers them a birch or something super soft, and they can get a super good deal on wood delivered to them, and they cut it up in their firewood processor, and then they have a contract to sell to all like the local stores. That's the only way. And unless you have a foot in, or you already have someone that's going to set you up the contract, it's not going to work. Just be careful. I'm not going to say it's not going to work, but just be super careful. Leave comments, suggestions in the comment section. I'll try to answer them the best I can. But I'm sorry for the rant, but I just want you guys to know it's not all golden eggs, and it's the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence, guys. This is a real thought process, and you have to realize what the bottom line is. This is just a little extra money to keep the guys going when we're slow. And make a little bit, and it's fun to buy stuff after you make a little money and buy more saws, or buy a better firewood splitter, or this and this. I mean, we even got the totes for free. We got our totes for free. We spent a day, me and Josh, cleaning them up and placing them. So I mean, we have such a minimum investment, and we're still not making a killing. It's just a basic thing we do after work or on our slow days. So anyway, this is Roger with Roger's Reviews. Be careful. Do your homework. Do your research. Don't jump in the firewood business and think you're going to make a killing, because you're going to end up spending more than you're making. If you don't have a tree service and you don't have a bunch of equipment already to do firewood, you don't have trucks and trailers, don't spend a bunch of money getting in this business unless you get a big contract and you're guaranteed income. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, and I'll bring it straight to you. No BS, no bullshit. I've done this for 20 years plus, and I'll tell you exactly how it's done. A lot of people I tell exactly how it's done and how to make money, doing what I do. They don't listen. They do not listen, and they'll make the mistakes over and over again. They're just spinning their wheels and spending money. If you don't have someone subsidizing your firewood business, you're not going to be able to afford $500,000 worth of equipment and then split wood and think you're going to be a millionaire. So oh my God. I'll see you guys next time. Please ask questions. Straighten me out. If you think you know better, or you think something is greener on the other side of the fence, let me know. Peace out, and we'll see you tomorrow.